Perhaps your summer wanderings have taken you to Cape Henlopen State Park. Maybe you found yourself strolling the beach at sunset, admiring the Delaware Breakwater East End light. Oh
yeah, it's such an iconic thing for Delaware. Well, Jim Duffy of Secrets of the Eastern Shore has done exactly that on more than one occasion. But he's paying attention to something else out there, and that would be not the light, but a giant pile of rocks. Jim, welcome.
Good afternoon.
What's going on with the rocks? Please explain.
You guys know that I'm married to a photographer. Yeah. And this is like one of those moments when being a professional history nerd is just kind of ridiculous. All right. So she's out there with her tripod getting a picture of this beautiful, iconic lighthouse. It's 5 stories tall, built in 1885. And I'm like, yeah, but you see those rocks underneath there? So a couple of things. Let's go back to the very earliest days of our country.
Okay.
The Delaware Bay and River is like the most important trade route around. Philadelphia, for much of this time, is the biggest city in the country. It's the capital of the country for a little while. And the second thing is that at that time, Cape Henlopen is a really dangerous place for ships. It has these unpredictable moving shoals, and in storms, they go up against those shoals and they wreck. So in the early 1800s, there's like a 20-year period where there's more than 200 shipwrecks.
Oh
and like one a month. That's a lot of money, a lot of people. And all the merchants in Philadelphia and Wilmington and elsewhere, they're like, somebody's got to do something. But the answer to who that somebody isn't really clear yet, because the federal government is so young, they haven't really sorted out what's federal, what's local, what's state, and all of that. And that big pile of rocks is part of the process as well of us figuring out sort of which country we are. There's a couple other things going on at the same time, like they're starting to build the National Road, Route 40, kind of over the Appalachian Mountains, and the Erie Canal up in New York. Yeah. And this is kind of a third one of the first big transportation infrastructure that kind of hints the way towards our interstate highways and federalized air travel and all of that. So that's what the big pile of rock is. It's called the Delaware Breakwater. They started working on it in 1825. And you might think it's just a pile of rocks, but it was actually at that time an engineering marvel. It was the first such protective pile of rocks ever built in the Western Hemisphere. It was the third in the world. They had one in England and one in France before that. I think it's like 20 feet wide at the top or 30 feet wide at the top, but it's 145 feet wide at the bottom. So there's nearly 1 million tons of rocks with old school kind of technology being done. You know how you're in a traffic jam and it's there like every day, day after day after day after day, and you're like, hasn't this been going on for 6 months?
Right.
It took them 40 years to build this, 40.
Oh my gosh.
It took them 40 years.
So any problems along the way?
Once they got done, it was kind of obsolete because there were so many more ships out that the protective breakwater they built wasn't big enough to fit all the ships out there. So even in the 1870s, there's ships stuck out there. There's more shipwrecks. They didn't figure out a final solution until the 1920s, 150 years after they started. They built another big harbor of refuge line of rocks, which is where the harbor of refuge lighthouse is. But along the way, they prevented a lot of shipwrecks. They saved a lot of people. They saved a lot of money. And that's why that pile of rocks is on the National Register of Historic Places.
That's amazing. So
that is incredible.
Good reason to be fascinated with a pile of rocks.
Okay,
Jim
we'll give
Duffy,
you that.
Secrets of the Eastern Shore. Thank you so much.
Good points.